Hey guys, welcome to the Garbage Time Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Nolan. I am joined today by producer Matt.
Hey.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
That was so nice.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
I know, it is good. And producer Dave.
Hey, yo.
Heyo, also known as at Easton.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what's up.
We spend a week at Twitter, and this guy walks away with at Easton. We will get into that. So we're going to do things a little bit different today, because obviously there are no picks to fade, because the, I don't know if you guys heard, NFL season, Dunzo.
What?
I know. Scoops.
Scoops?
So we had a couple people tweet at us after our crazy week of live shows at the Super Bowl that like they would be interested in having an oral history of what our week was like. And I think that sounds like a really good idea because so much happened behind the scenes that you guys may not know, or maybe you missed a show, and we just have so many interesting stories and funny stuff that happened. So we're gonna tell the untold story of all the dirt that happened. There wasn't that much dirt. I was so fucking busy I didn't have time for dirt or showers. So that worked out.
So there was dirt.
That was good.
Yeah, lots of
That was
dirt.
really good.
And also some other things that have been going on since then. Don't know if you know. I was on Seth Meyers. Still don't know why, but it was fucking cool as fuck.
That was awesome.
So, let's just like shoot the shit about that. Producer Matt,
And-
producer Dave, both were there. Also, every other producer we have. Two of our staff members, Matt and Ashley, not this Matt. This is where it gets confusing.
Too many.
Matt and Ashley had to be in LA, but other than that, everybody else was in San Francisco. My overarching thing that I will say that nobody knew or probably would care to know, but might be kind of cool to know now, since we were the only, actually I don't know if Whitlock's show is a simulcast radio show or if it's a TV show, but our TV show is very different from others, and Fox didn't have a truck there, which means that normally that's where your control room and all of the feeding of stuff happens when you're on a remote shoot. We didn't have that, so our control room was in LA. So anytime a producer wanted to tell me anything in my ear, there was a 3-second delay before I would hear that. Also,
That's crazy.
the monitors that were on, that you use to watch clips, or like when you toss to a clip or when we come out of break, were also on a delay. I think that one was like a 5 or 6 second delay.
Right.
And so it would feel like when I was like, check it out, silence, 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 clip plays. And it was like, what? That's awful. Or like if you notice, if you watched any of the live shows, off the back of a clip, Schrager and I reacting to it, there was a pause and then we reacted. It's little stuff, but it was so hard to get into a rhythm, having to account for. Also, prompter was being run in LA, so the 3-second delay of them hearing me, then the 3-second delay of it coming to the screen, like it was a constant like battle
That's
to
crazy.
try to read the line that was
And
there.
the prompter was on the jib cam, right? And
Yes.
so like every time I would like be behind set and look, I'd be like, how does Katie follow this? Like the prompter's like floating in the air.
And they would like
It's so
turn it to
ridiculous.
have like a cool angle of Schrager and I had to be like, when do we come back? And like lean over because I couldn't read. Oh man. So it was just a fucking mess.
You pulled it all off.
It was really, really fun. We pulled it all off.
Yeah.
There was so much insanity
was.
that happened. Like I don't even know where to start. So I just started with my shit. But like, what was the craziest part of the week for you guys? I'm curious because so much. You guys did so much that like no one realized that anybody was doing. Like I think for me, the thing I know that you did, and it's only because you told me, and I bet you did 90 things like this, producer Matt, throughout the week, is that you had to talk Drew Brees into doing a segment that he probably
man.
wasn't going to do,
Oh, it was amazing.
that we had planned the whole show around, and he was late he like a few minutes late for what he was supposed to do,
Yeah.
and you, when he said no, you had to like, well, you tell the story.
I mean, yeah, that was a nice tee up. I mean, I think, so Drew Brees was supposed to be on, like, in our C block, so his arrival time was, like, 1:30, and we were looking over at Doug Gottlieb's show, which was across the aisle, and at 1:30, like, Drew Brees got onto Gottlieb's show, and we were like, which is not Doug's fault, like, at all, it's just he was, like, late from something else and was just whatever, and we were on until 2, so, and then we were done for the week, so it's like, that was kind of our only shot, and we had this idea for him to do like the pregame speech that he does, and he was like running a little bit late, and Ryan Reynolds came on time, which is like a whole different story. And yeah, Drew Brees was like, he was coming in. We had like a commercial break to get him like on board with what we wanted to have him do. And he first said no to doing a chant because he was like, which is totally fair. He was like, no, I just usually do this for my teammates. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Totally
usually do it
fair
for TV.
answer.
Yeah, of course. And like
But Ford's not taking no for an
no.
answer.
we had
Didn't
15
stop.
seconds to prep him, literally. So like for him, like it's not like we get to know each other and like run other things by him. It was just like, we need you backstage to like do this chant. And you have to do it. And I honestly don't know how it worked, but it was also terrifying because it was like in front of all of the Fox people.
Yeah, so
he
like
was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
what happened was he's being modest, but producer Matt like coerced. This sounds mean,
Yeah.
but like you basically made him feel comfortable and got him to agree to do this thing by showing him that like you had taught the whole audience already this chant.
Yep, they did a great
you,
job.
Like showed him that you knew it and you did it for him, and he was like, how do you know that? And you were like, I've watched all these videos of you doing it, it's so great, we're such huge fans.
Yeah.
And you got him to be like, yeah, okay, that is really cool, like let's do it. Meanwhile, I'm at the desk. I have no idea any of this is happening. I've got my hand in my ear being like, do we have Drew Brees?
Yeah,
And
right.
everyone's so busy that no one can actually tell me what we have. And I'm like
Right.
looking around to see if I can see him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was an amazing moment. It was such a fun way to close out the week too, with that chant.
Yeah, that ended up being the last thing we did, right?
Yeah,
It was so crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
starting at the end because I'm
Yeah.
an idiot. That's how it works. But like the craziest part about that too is that when we do interviews for Garbage Time, we have like half an hour with people normally, and then we'll cut it down to like the best 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And so I haven't exactly honed my live interview skills lately because it's just not how we do the show. And to live interviews, there's this key of like, you've got to get them to say things, but you got to get them to say it pretty fast.
Right.
And you can't waste time on like little shit that might make them more comfortable or whatever it is. And so the craziest thing for me was that on the 5th day of doing live TV alone with Schrager, so not really alone, but you know, not 9 people on Crowd Goes Wild, we had a guest interview in the F block, in the final block of a show, which you never do on a live show because your hard out at the end is a hard out. So like if I'm interviewing someone in the B block and I'm getting in my ear like throw to break, it can run over a few seconds,
Right.
doesn't make a big deal if the break comes a few seconds late. But like the end of the show is it's a hard out, so you have to hit it.
Yeah.
And I remember asking Drew Brees something, and then I was like, oh my God, we have to get in his plug. And I had to cut him off about eating a crocodile because
yeah.
he was going to keep going, and he should. I wanted
Who
to hear
wants
the
to hear
story,
about that?
but I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, gross, too gross. I need to stop you. Tell me about Verizon. And then he was like, oh, okay. So I'm doing this thing with Verizon, and he's going, and I'm like, no.
Right.
And I think he saw in my eyes pleading of like, I have to get out of the show. And he was like, and so yeah, great. And I was like, great, thanks for being here, Drew. And in my ear, Colette, our producer, is like, prompter! And like turn to camera and read. And so I read the prompter after I said, Drew, thank you so much for being here. I turn and prompter says, thank you for being here, Drew, and also Verizon for bringing us Drew. And I was like, I just said that. Please move the prompter on. But we timed the show perfectly. Like the control
huge.
room in LA went up in applause, like uproarious applause. That like
So sick.
finally on our 5th day of doing it, we nailed it. To bounce around a little because this is relevant to that concept, there was a day where there was a huge miscommunication between myself and the control room, and they had said, you're gonna have to, in the final block, you'll bullshit with Schrager a little bit, and then we'll let you know when there's a minute left and you've got to get out. And I was like, okay. Those were 2 separate statements. We'll let you know when there's a minute left and when you need to get out. And I didn't know that. So when in my ear they said 1 minute, I turned to prompter and said, that's our show, thanks so much, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, what are you doing? We have so much time. Go back to Schrager. And so I'm staring at the camera like a deer in headlights. And I'm like, and thanks to Twitter, they've been so great. Peter, did you know that they have free bacon like at Twitter all the time? And Peter's just looking at me like, what are we doing? And because Schrager's the man, he's like, I love bacon. I'll talk about bacon with you all day on this show. I didn't know what to
that's
do.
amazing.
So I just kept being like, yeah, it's free and it's really good. This feels weird. Thanks to all our guests. And everyone was like, you fucking idiot. We have now 45 seconds to fill of like crowd clapping. I didn't know what to do.
It was great, but you handled it so well. I mean,
oh, did I?
You did.
But it's okay to say that I didn't.
What?
It was a bad call.
No, it's like in my mind, if like anything's ever going bad, it's just like, oh, bacon. That's and the fact that you went there and you were like, oh, this will save me.
When my mind is blank, it's bacon.
Yeah. So it's the perfect thing to do. Just back to all week, I was just like shocked at how we just got guests to buy in to do just such fun, cool shit. So it goes to the Drew Brees thing is a good way to kick it off. But like so many of the guests, and like that's what I think they had fun on our show. And a lot of them said that, like how much more fun they were having on our show than other shows. It's just like we were coming up with weird stuff for them to do. Half the time thinking like, oh, they probably aren't going to do it, but let's just try. And like one of them was getting Matty Ice to drink Matty Ice.
So we had that idea. And you guys maybe can speak to this better than I can, but I know that there was like, I mean, I don't know that everyone at home knows this, but like we had our exact team that we have here. We didn't have more, I mean, we had a couple more people in LA helping out, but like we didn't have a huge bunch of tons of producers that were helping do things. So like when we needed props for the day, like you guys had to go out and get, and that's valuable time in the day that we needed you doing other stuff, but it was like it had to get done and we needed to buy props. And I feel like there was something about like we couldn't find the beer or we couldn't get...
Yeah, Garrett bought the natural ice for Matt Ryan to drink, and he said he had to go to like 8 different places.
Yeah.
And then the next day I ended up getting beer for Gronkowski. And it's like, this is
crazy.
Okay, this is
crazy
work. Sure.
So like when we decided, at first I remember thinking we were gonna have to scrap it. And then I think he was late. So it bought us some time, and then we got the Matty Ice things made. And I'll tell you honestly, when he was there and he sat down and I slid him the beer, I had him immediately, the second I put it in front of him and I cracked mine, I was like, you fucked that up. Because the beer's not open. And he's never gonna open a beer and drink it. Like if I had cracked it open and slid it in front of him, it's sort of like peer pressure, dude. I opened a beer, you have to drink it. And so the second I slid it in front of him, I was like, well, there goes our TV moment, because he's not gonna fucking drink that. And he took it, cracked it open, and drank it.
Yeah,
was
amazing.
Never in a million years. I will say Matt Ryan, my opinion of him has completely changed. I didn't have a negative opinion of him, but like on Hard Knocks, he was so plain vanilla and it was kind of boring. He was so nice and like came with his own personal little anecdote about the bar he used to work at. Nobody told him to say that.
Amazing.
Like,
he knew where he worked.
Oh God,
he was crazy.
Fantastic. He was so nice and so game for. Speaking of being game for things, Todd Gurley. Who had to convince him to do Gurley?
That was Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, how did that work?
That was...
Explain the segment first.
To explain how we came up with the segment, because I'm pretty sure it was the night before.
Yeah.
And we were drinking at Twitter. And we were like, we should
does.
just do like girly time. Because I'm like, I just want to get girly. And I then talked in that fucking awful voice for like 15 straight minutes. To the point where everyone was like, yeah, so we'll do this as a segment for sure.
That's exactly how it happened. You were just like, what if I'm just like, so Todd Gurley, let's get Gurley together. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's just do that. I'm like, okay, cool. And then, and so he got there, and we shot this in the little green room area that was set up for our show. Because what was happening all week was just like, the guest situation was crazy. We had so many amazing guests, but a lot of it was happening like, these are the guests you have scheduled today. This guy canceled, but now this guy's in. And also, we're getting Gronk and Tebow, and it was just like, make it all happen.
The craziest day.
So in this same day, we had Liam Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, Victor Cruz, Todd Gurley, Gronk, and Tebow on the show. Insane. But specifically with Gurley, we shot it in the green room area.
One show.
Yeah, and
insane.
I was like, so it was like, I wanted to tell him like, so hey, you know, we do some fun things on our show. So like, we're gonna do this thing called Gurley Time with Todd Gurley. And as I'm saying it, I'm like, he's gonna fucking hate everything about this.
Think about this if you're Todd Gurley. Yeah. You're the rookie of the year.
Yeah.
And you're meeting Dave for the first time, and he's like, we want to do something that no one's ever done before.
Yeah.
Are you in?
And I'm just like, so Katie's gonna like talk to you in like a real girly voice, and like she's gonna like, you know, paint her fingernails and like have like Teen Beat magazine, and it's gonna be like really fun, but you know, it'll be a really good time. And like I was waiting for him to be like, yo, I'm not doing that. And he's like, all right, cool, sounds fun. And I'm like, okay. And then I just stopped. I'm like, don't say
Don't
anything
say
else,
any
Dave.
more words.
I'm like, you heard the word yes. Like, and I'm like, and of course we'll plug your beef jerky. Like, don't worry about that.
Which was impossible when you're doing girly time. Like, tell me about the calories. Is it gluten-free?
And then just you sat down and did it, and like he just bought in completely.
He did.
Sold the hell
I
out of that.
almost-
Like you did with everything.
He
But
almost let me paint his nails. I got so close. Because he said, oh, I would if you had clear. And I was like, oh, funny you should say that. Pulled out clear nail polish, and he was like, nah, I can't. And then he sat on his hands. And I was like, I'm making you uncomfortable. I'll stop.
But he painted your fingernails.
He
which is
sure
awesome.
did. And I kept my fingernails painted that way for the whole week. And people were like, what's with your... And I'm like, Oh, you mean the
Todd
manicure I
Gurley
got from
painted them.
Todd Gurley? Oh, you feel
my God.
stupid now, don't you? And they were like, no, you still look like a child.
if that happened on our show normally, that would have been like the biggest win of the month.
I know.
And that wasn't even our biggest win of that day.
So let's talk about Thursday, because again, I started with Friday, so I guess we'll go backwards.
do
Maybe
it.
I should set this up for everybody better. I've never been to a Super Bowl media extravaganza
Yeah.
before, but I'd heard, and it was exactly spot on, that like Monday and Tuesday is sort of slow.
Yep.
And Wednesday starts to pick up. And then Thursday and Friday, it's like everywhere you look, you're tripping over somebody. That's a huge name.
Yep.
And so Monday and Tuesday, we kind of were, it was good. It was a good pacing because it got our legs, we got to get our legs under us or whatever. And so we got there Saturday or Sunday, spent Sunday like shooting around San Francisco. And then we did the NFL experience thing at night where I schooled all those kids. Oh my God. Like you guys, you
idiot
didn't
kids.
even see the half of it. Like I crushed all of them. The punting contest didn't make it, which is rude because I punted the fuck out of some balls.
Can we just, you'll never admit this, you are an incredible athlete.
Okay. Incredible is an exaggeration.
Like, watching, the first time I saw you, like, whatever it was, I think throwing, I saw, like, the reflection on the window, and I was like, oh, who's that, like, person who does that all the time? Like, I saw it, and I was like, that's not Katie, is it? Like, you were so, like, you're fast, you can kick, like, what is that?
I don't know. I'm not an athlete at all.
It's one of those things where you're just like, what?
I'm not athletic. I think it's just luck. Because I crushed all those field goals, and then I went to do it again, and I couldn't even get the ball off the ground. I think it was just luck.
You were kicking field goals, like this, right?
5-yard field. They were 5-yard field.
Blair Walsh missed one of those in the
I
playoffs.
did not hit a
Okay,
20-yard
so I forgot.
field goal.
Yes,
No, I didn't.
I watched it. It was Blair Walsh missed territory. And you were just drilling it.
Sorry, Dave. We can move on.
Yeah.
No, it was funny because Garrett was there. It was me, Garrett, and Kirk. And Garrett was like, Katie, I'm sorry. This is going to sound mean. You're fast.
You're fast.
He's like, I am
It's crazy.
shocked by how fast you are. Like, he's like, I'm sorry. I know I'm making fun of how unathletic you are as a person, but you were really fast. I was wearing Timbs, and I schooled those motherfuckers. Those
You're
nice
good at
children.
running routes. More on that later.
Yeah.
more on
Oh
that
my
later.
God.
We'll get there.
I can't wait to
All right,
go
so that
back.
was Sunday. Go through
Wait.
the week,
So
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Monday was media day at night, which is just such a fucking shit show. But we went to media day with a plan. And sometimes you come up with an idea that is like, this sounds like it'll work. And then you get there and you're like, oh, this is not working. So like we have to come up with something else. And we came up with the concept to do, to just interview the reporters as if they were athletes and then interview the fans as if they were there to watch the reporters. And it ended up being one of my favorite things we've ever done.
Really good.
It was so fun. And to get the names that we got to like play along with the joke was like Chris Berman. I never thought he'd be like, yeah, sure, definitely, we'll help out your show and make funny jokes about, elbowing my way up to the front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Or like
Michael Irvin.
Herm Edwards, like, yeah, sure, you'll definitely play ball. They did.
was awesome.
It was incredible.
Michael Irvin was like all about our show. It was great.
And I saw him the next day after he was on. After we aired the clip of him on our show talking about how he likes our show, and he was like, "I saw myself on your show," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you actually watch it because
Amazing.
you saw that you were on it because you were watching it."
So crazy.
So crazy. So that was a really cool thing. Tuesday, we had Luke Rockhold with that fucking elbow, man.
Kissed his gross elbow.
You guys
One of the
made
great
me.
moments of the week.
Well, so here's the
It's
thing.
so
We
funny.
kissed his gross elbow, and the cameras didn't get it. I had to kiss it again because that was a pre-tape right before we aired. So, like, They were like, Katie, can you just do it again? I'm like, no. Yes. So I did. It was awful.
It was great.
Wednesday it was easier because we got a half-hour episode.
Yeah.
That was
Of course,
great.
that's when everything went wrong.
Yeah, everything. What?
That was just like the day the printers weren't working.
Oh my
like
God.
we needed the Matty Ice beer. We needed to like make that while you were like in the A block.
And meanwhile, we got great stuff from that show. We got the Matty Ice stuff, and then we got Dana White, Katie
Scoops.
breaking
Scoops?
scoops. Breaking
Again.
the news that Rockhold Weidman 2 is definitely happening in June.
More accidental scoops because I don't think I wasn't so. How can I say this delicately? Everything went wrong that show, and that was for some reason something about that. Something was going wrong. I think either my IFB was because the volume in my earpiece was up and down all week, and that day I think it was like sounded like somebody was ordering from a drive-thru, and so I couldn't. It was very distracting, and I think I thought he said something that he didn't, and so I was like, you can tell when I watched it back because Dana's like, yeah, it's happening, and I'm like, you're confirming that it's happening, and he's like. Yeah, the fight that I just said was happening to somebody else. Yeah, it's happening. And I was like, no. Weidman, I'm like forgetting names.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? I kind of blacked out a little bit. And thank God our producers had the presence of mind at the end of the segment to go, get him to say it again. And so I had to go, before we go, can you just confirm that the rematch is happening on this date? And then he said yes. And it was like, oh, thank God. Because before, he didn't actually say what I thought he said. Which is a very weird sentence, but it's accurate. It makes sense. I thought I scooped something, and then I didn't. I was a mess. I blacked out for a lot of that segment.
But then you did, and then everywhere the next day, that day was Dana White says on Garbage Time with Katie Nolan that Weidman Rockhold 2 is happening.
Sorry, Helwani. Coming for your job, bro.
Amazing.
So that was Wednesday. I'm trying to remember, I feel like one of these days I had a mental breakdown. Probably was at the end of Wednesday. So, okay, Thursday. Thursday was the craziest day of my entire life. Yep. Thursday was because we were on 2 hours earlier, or was that Friday? God, I'm getting them all screwed up.
Friday was early.
So Thursday was crazy because there was this rumor of we might get Gronk. But if we get Gronk, we have no idea when we're getting Gronk. So we have to get to set earlier than usual, and we have Gronk. I had yet to, and I know this doesn't matter, but it's a weird thing that once I get in hair and makeup, I know it's time to film stuff, and we hadn't even done that yet. So my hair was wet from a shower, and it was I'm gonna go throw a pass to Gronk and just pretend that that's cool and normal and that I'm not freaking out. And I met him and was like, hi, I'm supposed to play it cool. I'm the host of a television program, but I love you and you're on my team and you mean the whole world to me, so I'm not gonna play it cool. And he just looked at me and was like, okay. Exactly what you expect Gronk to react. And so we filmed that thing with him, which was really cool.
What did you do with him, for those who didn't see it?
Well, first of all, go fucking watch it.
Yeah.
But
on YouTube.
So it was, the concept was there, and then we sort of ever really forgot to set it up. But it was supposed to be I was daydreaming and thinking that I was Tom Brady, and I wish I could go back to the last play of the game or whatever, where Gronk was open in the end zone.
Yeah.
And if I were Tom Brady, and I'm like, you just got to get open, Gronk, and then Gronk says, oh, bro, I'll be open. And then we cut to me throwing the ball to him. He catches it, he spikes it, almost hit me in the face, which was my fault. Because I didn't celebrate him catching it. I just ran at him. Why would I do that? Oh, because I'm not a quarterback. I've never thrown a touchdown before.
Gronkowski's right there, run to him.
So then he spikes the ball, almost hits me in the face. By the way, everyone was crowded around, filming us film a thing for our TV show, which was don't do that. We're going to put this on TV later.
Probably because you're throwing a pass to Rob Gronkowski, and that is insane.
It was super weird. And then so we chest bumped, and he almost knocked me over, which I knew was going to happen. And then we chugged a fucking beer. We chugged a beer. And it was noon. It was noon, and we had the craziest busiest day scheduled, and I chugged a beer, and we slammed it on the ground. And so funny, I don't know what he meant by it, but when he was done, he was like, whoa, I haven't had a beer in a really long time. And like gave the rest to one of our producers. And it was like, so do you mean that you only drink liquor? Do you mean that you don't drink during the season?
Right.
Or do you not have, like, that doesn't make any sense.
The idea of Gronk saying he hasn't had a beer in a while is just
I was
weird.
like, wait,
Yeah.
what
It's
do you
Gronk. You're supposed
mean?
to,
Matt Ryan didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
So that happened. So Gronk.
So Gronk happens at like noon. I chug a beer, and then all of a sudden, I feel like I might have gone back upstairs or something to like, okay, it's time to get into hair and makeup now. And then we're like, what if we get Tebow? We might have Tebow.
Yeah, right.
And I was
Obviously.
like, we don't have time for Tebow. I didn't even mean to do that. And they're like, yeah, no, I think we do. And so we didn't, but we made time. We're rushing around like crazy. We're doing this walk and talk through Radio Row, which
Craziest shot of the week.
by Thursday, Radio
Like a
Row's
Goodfellas
packed.
shot. Yeah.
And Tim Tebow, I've never seen anything like walking through a crowd of people next to Tim Tebow.
It's crazy, right?
People were reaching out and touching him, like as if he were, and I'm not making this comparison lightly, like Jesus. He was their Jesus. Somebody reached out, touched him, and said, Tim, pray for my brother. And he reached out and touched the guy's shoulder. It was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Is this real life? Like,
Wow.
people were, Tim. And he was like genuine. He was a genuinely nice guy.
Yes.
But he would like look at all, he made eye contact with every person and would nod. And I just felt like I was walking and had a cross on my shoulders. Like, it was so weird and just such a strange experience. Again, super nice, super genuine guy. Like, I ran into him later in the week and he remembered me and was like, how was the show? He's a very nice person. The reaction to him as a person is insane. I've never seen anything like it.
You caught a pass from him, too.
Did.
Burying the lead.
Oh, yeah. So at the end, I jumped up into like a foam pit and caught a pass.
Right. So
Which
within,
not a
Tim
lot of
Tebow.
people have caught a pass thrown by Tim Tebow, so I feel honored.
Yeah, it's right.
real.
Small club.
And I made that joke to him, and he didn't strangle me. So that was pretty nice of him.
Yeah, that was.
He was like, "You gonna
nice.
catch it?" And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna catch it, but I'm worried about you. You're gonna be able to hit me with it, or." So we taped that with Tim Tebow. Then I'm like, I have to change into my outfit for the show, which I wouldn't normally care about, but we had a wardrobe, like I had wardrobe for the week. And when you pick clothes, apparently they like let the designers know that you're gonna wear it or something. So you have to wear like a thing. And so I'm like changing into this thing that's like tights and a fucking skirt and a button-up shirt. I get downstairs, they're like, we need to mic you. I'm like, I can't, I have tights and shirts tucked into things and it's not gonna happen. Sorry. I just looked right at the audio guy and was like, Todd Gurley's sitting there waiting to film a thing. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't wear a microphone. I've never felt so helpless and stressed in my life. Then I sit down and have to be like, so, Todd.
Great transition.
What do you love the most about LA? And his face was like, it's cool. It's cool. And I was
Wow.
like, what about it is the coolest? That segment.
Amazing.
great.
It's hilarious. And then just moving forward to the live show, then you do that, you pre-tape with him, and
then we have to pre-tape with Goldblum.
right, with Goldblum Hemsworth.
Yep, who Goldblum is an amazing human to be around,
Oh,
and he's
man.
so funny and so personable.
Electric, yeah.
Live TV with him is tough.
Yeah.
He was
He's
talking
hilarious.
to me about living in Hoboken right up until they were counting me in, like, we're back in 3, 2. And he's like, so what neighborhood in? And I was like, welcome back to, sorry, we'll talk about this later. Garbage time. I'm Katie Nolan. He just was like, I want to just talk. He's just so nice.
He's
He's
awesome.
such a good dude.
But it was so hard to get him to like, please just understand the game we're playing and please stop derailing it. I don't know what prop bet stands for.
I just loved the fact that it was like very much like Katie and Goldblum talking, and Hemsworth is just there, and at one point Hemsworth is just like, it was like a big fucking movie star, just like, I'm having a lot of fun. In like the
Highlight
most
of the week.
sarcastic way ever. It was
Highlight
so
of
good.
the week. I don't remember. Well, the first best thing Liam Hemsworth said was, we have a base on the moon with a giant laser. And I said, how are the aliens, or how are we preparing, how is Earth prepping for the alien invasion? Well, this time we have a base on the moon and a giant laser.
So now I'll ask Jeff Goldblum anything because we're not topping that.
Moon lasers,
Yeah.
fine. That was the first moment that he did that was fantastic.
He was talking about Independence Day, by the way, in case people didn't
Oh,
get
yes.
that part.
No, we haven't
Australia
built a real
just has a moon base.
laser on the
Yeah.
moon. And then we're playing this game, and he's just getting every answer right, but doesn't fucking care. Liam Hemsworth
Right.
does not want to be there, which is fair. It's like press junket week for you.
Totally,
You're
yeah.
tired. What is this show? Why is Jeff Goldblum continuing to say the word prop bet?
Why is Bill Pullman in the green room doing nothing?
Yeah, everything was confusing and overwhelming, and I get it. But there's just this beautiful moment that I missed live. Like, I didn't hear him say or like notice. It didn't seem as funny, but like comedically watching it back, you just silence for a second, and Liam says, "I'm having so much fun right now," or like, "I'm having a great time."
It was so good.
It was like, no, you're not. You hate this so much.
Great
So
TV.
good.
So that was pre-taped.
Yes.
Then live show happens.
Live show happens. And just real quick before we move on, you got Victor Cruz to do the Manning face.
Oh no, we're not moving on because Victor Cruz
Yeah.
wasn't there at the exact second he was supposed to be. He wasn't that
Yeah,
late.
he was like
Right.
60 seconds
Oh, right,
late.
right. I
But
do
so
remember
we
this
have
now.
to start the show, and the producers are like, we don't have Cruz. So, okay, blow up the A block, talk to Schrager. We're going to move Schrager Town, which is supposed to be in the C's. We'll move it up to the A's, and we'll figure out the C's once we're done with the A's. So I'm like, okay, flopping around my scripts, and all of a sudden they're counting me in, and I see Victor Cruz walking up. And I'm like, I can't say anything because I'm about to say things on TV. So I have to I'm like pointing to try to get people to look over because I'm looking in that direction. Everyone else is looking at the set. So then we eventually got to the point where we could bring Victor up, and it was amazing. So we got him to do the Manning face, which was
Crazy.
I mean, I would never have thought in a million years that he would do it.
And
But
he
was
nailed
just
it.
so
Nailed it.
he nailed it, and he was so funny, and it was just so perfect because during the Super Bowl when Eli was
perfect.
just like sad about his brother winning the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
it was really perfect, and I just love. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be awesome in TV when he decides to go that
For
route,
sure.
when he retires. He you have to walk through these guests what you're gonna do with them, and he just I started talking about what we were gonna do, and he was like, "Yeah, I got it." And then 2 seconds later, he got called up on stage and just
Crushed it.
crushed.
Because it wasn't a normal
It's
bit.
amazing.
There was salsa, which I think he always expects someone's going to do something salsa related.
Yeah,
He didn't know about scoops.
yeah,
Scoops and
Scoops.
salsa.
It's perfect.
that was so good.
Yeah, he's a really good him, and I think Matt Ryan's going to crush in the media too when he
God,
when
he was
he's
so polished.
done. Yeah, so great. Okay, so Friday.
Friday, we talked about the Drew Brees thing that was amazing, and then Ryan Reynolds was cool as hell, and you guys...
Talk about
Are
a
in
guy
love.
who didn't need any prep. He
Yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, whatever, I got it." And
He was
then
another one
talked to all the
that
girls.
wasn't there when he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then I was hearing, I have eyes on Ryan, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'd already started let's go through the best hashtags you guys sent us. So I'm reading people's tweets, and Ryan Reynolds is standing next to the monitor that I have to squint to read the tweets, and the monitor's on a delay, don't forget. So it was already awkward and weird. I'm looking at the most handsome man in the world waiting to come on stage
She's
while
talking
I
about me. I was standing right there.
read. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was there next to
Yeah.
you, but I'm like,
Right.
oh my God,
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the most handsome man in the world waiting to come on stage. He's leaning in because my microphone isn't projecting to the room, it's projecting to television, so he can't hear me.
Right.
And he's waiting to hear his name so he knows when to walk up. And I'm reading strangers on the internet's tweets. And I'm like, who cares? I'm putting Ryan Reynolds up. Why are you making me do this? And then I was like, yeah, we could discuss it. Oh, no, wait, I didn't even mention Garofalo. The best part of the
Right.
Ryan Reynolds thing is Garofalo.
Oh, right,
We
I
didn't think
forgot
we were going to have Ryan Reynolds. And the producers were like, who's around? Grab somebody. And Garofalo was on set. So we're like, cool, let's mic up Garofalo, sit him next to Schrager, and we'll talk more football. That happens, and then in the break, seconds before the break, Ryan Reynolds shows up. And Garofalo's like, I'm not moving. He's already wired to the couch. It hadn't been communicated to the right people to strike Garofalo. So he's still sitting there. I'm like, fuck it, just leave him
He was
here.
not leaving.
So
He
we
was
come out
totally
of the
in on
tweets
it.
and just randomly Schrager and friends on the couch. And I'm like, hey guys, yeah, we were gonna talk to Mike Garafolo, but Ryan Reynolds, everybody! And he like comes up, he shakes their hand. Garafolo makes a fool of himself because he can't make a sentence and look at Ryan Reynolds' perfect face.
He is so handsome.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that I
What a guy.
could like find a man that handsome. I did.
And his
It's
face
striking.
is so expressive, and like when he smiles with his whole face. I could talk about his face for so many more podcasts.
I could talk about his face for a while. I can't believe it.
And he was so cool. Like, he just, like, bought in so completely to, like, the game that we didn't even get to prep him on. We're just like, just go up there. You got it. And he was just, like, had so much fun with it. Like, he was so, like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to completely buy into this and just be the most awesome human ever.
We played starter or startup,
Right.
where we asked if a word was the last name of someone starting in the Super Bowl or a startup company.
Yeah.
And the best thing was when he got it wrong. I was always hoping for him to say startup and get it wrong, because then I would be like, so what does that startup company do? And he had these answers that were just hilarious.
Right.
So I'm in love, and the thing is, he's married and she's perfect. So I'm gonna stop making jokes about how we're in love, but we are in love.
So Mrs. Deadpool.
Yeah.
Was that good?
That was good.
No, it's not good.
I was sorry. I was just thinking about his face.
Yeah, it's okay.
I got
So that was
pregnant
it was
just
a crazy
sitting
week.
there. Oh, and we didn't even talk about Zeke Elliott was
yeah.
awesome, and I was no part
My
of this.
favorite
So
part of the whole
somebody
week.
please tell this story.
Well,
go ahead.
okay. Well, we were supposed to get him for an interview.
Yeah.
So we ordered all of these costumes, and by costumes I mean like a styrofoam like fake abs with straps that break the second you put them on. And we ordered like, I don't know, 10 of them, and then he cancels, of course, like the day after we order them. And then we hear through Kirk that he's like around, and we should do this little bit with him. And someone got him on board with it, and like 3 minutes before the show, like me, Dave, Garrett, and Kroll are standing there, like where you threw passes to Gronk with these fake abs on, and he like walks by and is just like, like what? Like his eyes like pop out of his head.
And then, of course, he's like, all right, and he pulls up his shirt and shows off his real abs.
His real abs.
And it was just a fucking great moment. But again, the fact that he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do this bit. Cool. It was amazing.
Your fucking faces in that
Thank
bit.
you, thank
I
you.
have gone back
Thank you.
and freeze framed to see you all just like, you do an eyebrow thing, producer Dave,
Yeah.
where like he looks over and you're all kind of smiling and nodding, and Dave like raises his eyebrows, like, you like what you see, bro? You like what you see? It's the best thing. And I saw that live. Like I saw that. We rolled it into a block with it, and I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe he
That
was
was
so
great.
game to just
Great.
abs.
Nice job.
Abs.
Got him on board.
Kirk did a lot. Producer Kirk did a
Yeah,
lot of
shout out to
things this
producer.
week, that week, whatever. Where like that went unnoticed and unthanked. But like getting everybody to say things for the fan battle piece was amazing. Like Matt Ryan
Really
said,
awesome.
I would never pick. What did he say? I wouldn't pick Carolina D. They lost to the Falcons. Like, what?
It was so great.
Yeah, I mean, everybody stepped up this week. But no one stepped up more than producer Dave
Oh, my God.
in our post-show football game. So we go back to Twitter, and they have on their rooftop this, like, field. And so we stole a football from at the buzzer. And we went outside, and we were, like, just running routes. Like, Kirk was basically usually de facto QB and just would throw bombs. And then we started, like, playing D a little bit. Like, it was kind of just a funny... I still had my dress on from the show, so it wasn't, like,
Yeah.
a serious game. Dave Easton could not catch a single fucking pass.
This is true.
Like, Kirk was hitting you in the hands
true.
every time.
Like 6-7 terrible drops.
And you would just like catch it and drop it. Just could not. It became like the funniest joke that you just were completely incapable of catching a pass. So at one point we're playing, and I noticed that it's true. Don't worry, you redeemed yourself. Spoiler alert. So we're playing, and I noticed that like Rowley, who works at Twitter, a girl that we've been hanging out with, she's fantastic. Everybody at Twitter was so great to us that week. But I noticed that she had walked out onto the roof with like a group of people. But we're playing a game, so I wasn't really paying attention. Like, I'm sure that's somebody kind of important or something. So we're playing. I think I caught a pass on this one play, and then Rally called me over and was like, have you ever met Case Keenum? I was like, oh shit. No, and also it could be either of these two white dudes here, because I don't think I've ever seen Case Keenum's face in my life.
Yeah.
And so I almost could have easily made the mistake of shaking like his agent's hand, because I had no idea which, and I was like, cool, nice to meet you, Case. He was very nice.
Yep.
And I think just because we were all so relaxed and it didn't matter and it wasn't for anything, it was so easy to just be like, you want to throw me a pass?
Yeah, she was like, do you guys want a quarterback?
Yeah.
And we thought it was like her. She's like, no, Case Keenum.
Yeah.
He'll throw a pass to Katie.
So I was like, oh yeah, do you want to throw me a pass? And he's like, if you're going to run routes like that last one. And I was like, yeah, I am. Let's go. Yeah, so producer Kirk got benched.
Demoted for
Sorry.
a starting quarterback in the NFL.
So you were on me. Was there anybody else? Didn't you? No,
So
everybody else
I
was filming.
Yeah, I
That's
was
right.
filming. A couple others were filming, and we were like, "Oh, we'll put like a defender on Katie. Like that would be
Yeah.
funny." And we
Easton.
picked Dave, who had not been having the best showing
From the
all
hands
day.
team.
Yep.
Yeah,
We put the
right.
hands team on the field.
Right.
Also, I couldn't understand which of his words meant go. So I just went while he was in the middle of his like, said, hut, and I went, and then he kept going, and I'm like, did I go too early? Whatever.
He had no defenders on him. He's just standing there.
I don't know why I did.
Yeah.
Just give me like a hard count, bro. Like, I don't need you to fucking. So I run. And Dave Easton picked him off. Like,
Katie breaks
oh God.
towards the outside. I turn around. He throws this pass. It leaves his hands. He goes, oh no, oh no, oh no. And Dave, like goddamn Champ Bailey, jumps his route and then picks off and high steps.
High steps to the end zone. Matt Ford immediately collapses.
On the ground.
Laughing.
On the ground.
Garrett immediately stops filming. He's like, oh shit, we just
I did
picked
too.
off a
I was like, we
professional
can't ever talk about
fucking
this or air
quarterback.
this.
I fall to the ground, like, oh
Everyone
no.
died.
And then I was like, we'll do it again. We can do it again. And for us, I think the highlight, we have an inside joke. It's a stupid thing, but we always say in this office, hop off. So like, oh yeah, why don't you just go hop off?
Oh, the footage was off. I'm just going to hop off. See you guys.
I'm just going to head out, and I'm on my way out, I'll just hop off.
Yeah.
So we say it all the time. It's stupid. It's like good producing. It's just a thing we say all the time. Case Keenum got picked off by producer Dave and then jokingly ran to the edge of the building and tried to hop off of it. And it's like just barely captured on Crowster's video.
Yeah.
He just barely gets out of the corner of the frame. You just see a leg go up, and he just hops over the side of the building because he wants to die because he got picked off by a guy who could not catch a pass.
100 people saw it.
It was the best, most perfect button to an insane week of like, wait,
Chaos.
what?
Good job, Dave.
Thank you. It
How'd
was
it
it was
feel?
legit the greatest moment of my life.
Yeah.
I when it happened, it didn't register when it happened because I'm like, holy shit, I'm picking this ball off. Like I'm jumping this route. It's like it's coming at my hands. I'm catching this, and then I'm high stepping back, and then I get to the end of the little fake end zone thing, and it registers. Holy shit! You just picked off an NFL quarterback, and you hear me say on the video, I just picked off Case Keenum.
That guy started like 5 games this year.
And I there was no chill in my I was just like I was like
Zero chill.
and then I lay out on the grass with my just spread out it was I'm like, this is happening, this is incredible.
All I remember
Yeah.
is Ford at one point sitting up and being like, I have to stop. I'm being such a dick. I think Case Keenum left before you got up off the ground and stopped laughing. You just couldn't help it. You just laid on your back and chuckled the entire time.
Chuckled?
As I was
screaming.
As I was like, Case, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. And Garrett was super nervous that he was going to be like, fuck that. So Garrett's like, don't worry, I deleted it. I was like, you didn't delete it, Garrett. What are you talking about? But he didn't, I think he was a good sport about it. It was an amazing, amazing week that if you told me I had to do it again the week after, I would have hopped off.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Like Case.
It was insanely stressful, and I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And like I went to maybe a party or two, and everyone was having such a great time, and I was like, how are you all not exhausted?
No one was working as hard as you.
As us. Like
It's true.
it was so
insane.
cool to see like fans of our show come out,
Great.
hang out
Yes.
behind our set,
Big thank you to them.
to meet people that were like, we love your show. It just felt like we always had the energy of Radio Row. And it was so, like, I still don't believe that was real life.
It was great.
It was incredible.
It was an incredible week. And also, Twitter, like, huge thanks to everybody at Twitter. They housed us. We had a conference room that was like our home base. We were in and out. It was a crazy week, and they never were mad at us for like, oh, you need this? Oh, you need this? They did everything they could. And honestly, the fact that whenever I wanted, I could have a cup of coffee, some bacon, and a freshly toasted piece of bread with house-made Nutella whenever I wanted, and no one was going to be like, really, Katie, going back for fourths?
Yeah.
No,
They're like,
no
"Why are
one
you
said a
taking
word
more?"
about it.
Yeah.
The dishes got cleaned. Not by me. You just
Nope.
put them in a bin and somebody cleans your, like, we don't even have a Keurig here. And that place was fucking awesome. And everybody there was really cool. And I'm actually going to see Rally at Daytona this weekend.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
tell her.
Shout out
because
there.
she's really wonderful.
That's awesome.
Dave got a new Twitter handle.
Dave got at Easton.
That's
Dave
what's
had a
up.
good week.
Shout out to Riley.
Dave
for that.
picked off Case Keenum and got the coolest Twitter handle in the biz.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
At
But yeah.
Easton. Big, big day
Yeah,
for
I'm
you.
pretty psyched about it. It's pretty happy.
Everything's coming up at Easton.
Now producer Matt needs a cool Twitter handle too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tried to come up with one, but everything was taken. And he doesn't want producer Matt. Or maybe
Yeah.
producer Matt
No,
was
producer
taken.
Matt's taken.
Taken, yeah.
Can we crowdsource it?
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone out there has a good idea for my Twitter handle, please suggest
Did we
it.
try producer _Matt, or were you like not into the underscore?
I would do that.
'Cause
I don't
that's
know
not
if I
too
took
bad.
that one.
Yeah, send suggestions for producer Matt. His last name is Ford. His birthday and home address are
Yep. Beep.
beep.
Believe it or not, guys, at Ford was taken. I was surprised.
Whoa.
So weird. I would think at Easton would be, seeing as it's a fucking company.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't.
It is now.
So then we got back from Super Bowl and got to sit and relax. Oh wait, just kidding. We did Seth Meyers.
Amazing. And you crushed. It
Crushed.
was really fun to watch. How'd you feel about it?
I felt nervous, blacked out. I
Yeah.
don't really remember. When I was backstage, waiting to come out, like right behind the wall that they move before you walk out. If you talked to the guy who stands there, I think he's probably like the stage manager. You'd be like, I've never seen anyone more nervous in my life. I asked him so many questions. Things like, how do you walk? Where do I look? Do I wave to the audience before I hug Seth? Do I hug Seth or do I shake Seth's hand? Do I wave to them afterwards? Do I walk in front of the desk? Do I do a spin? What should I do with my hands? Like, the guy kept being like, Are you serious? You can hug him if you want. You can shake his hand if you... What is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know why I'm here. I feel like this is an elaborate prank, and I'm going to walk out, and they're going to go, just kidding, your show's been canceled. Like, I didn't know what to expect. It was so strange, but he was so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just talked about, like, Super Bowl week and, you know, being a Roger Goodell sucking. And
Yeah.
those are my favorite things
Victor
to talk
Cruz
about.
again.
Yeah.
Rob Ryan.
Rob
Oh my
Ryan.
God.
That was crazy.
I wish people would stop wondering why I love him so much. Just accept it. My dad sent me the best text message after that, and I'm actually going to read it. Hold on, my phone's over there. Give me a second. So he sends me so Seth on the show, in case you missed it, showed pictures of Rob Ryan and had me defend or explain why I find him so incredibly attractive. And one of the pictures is him at like an Irish festival or something. And he's smoking a cigar, has maybe it's at Mardi Gras, but it's green. No, I think it's a St. Patrick's Day parade. He's got like Mardi Gras beads, but they're shamrocks around his neck. He's holding a Coors Light and he's giving someone a rose in the crowd. My dad texts me that picture and says, "So isn't there an old saying that girls marry men that remind them of their father?
Whoa.
Beer, cigar, goatee. I guess I just would need long hair. I'm flattered. If you brought him home, I would ask, 'Are you happy?' And I would have a beer and cigar with him."
Oh. What a text.
Like, what?
That's
Sounds
amazing.
like Dan Soder's bit about Jim Tom Sula.
Exactly that. Like that I made a joke. I think
Mike Nolan is a
maybe-
girlfriend's dad.
maybe Seth Meyers said, like, you don't bring this guy home to your parents. I think that's what he said.
Right.
So I made a joke about it, and my dad was like, Katie, if you brought him home, we love and support you, and all that matters is, are you
Mike Nolan.
happy? And then I would have a beer and a cigar with him.
And I talked to him about the 3-4.
Yeah, right?
Why his corners of doing press coverage.
But I will say that my father comparing himself to Rob Ryan did make me like Rob Ryan less. It
Yeah,
made it a
that's-
little weird for
That
me.
is odd.
I feel that.
Yeah, a little weird, Dad. But it's okay. I love you. And I'm not going to bring him home as much as I want him to because he also is married. And I sound like a homewrecker in this
Rob
podcast.
Ryan Reynolds.
Oh.
Wow. So yeah, we did Seth Meyers. That fucking
That's
happened.
amazing.
What was
so
like the
crazy.
most surprising thing about that to you?
How easy it really boils down to being. Like, I would very much, I stress myself out before I do things. I don't know if you guys know this. But he makes it so easy. He just genuinely, he's either a great liar or he genuinely likes our show and was interested in talking
was
to us
crazy.
about it. It was really cool. And I'm going to try to get him on the podcast because he was asking me, you know, when they go to break and you see the host
yeah.
and the guest talking, but like you can't hear what they're saying. That's what we talked about. We talked about the podcast. He was like, when do you tape it? Like,
That's insane.
where's your studio? He's
yes.
such a nice guy. I know. I actually chickened out in the moment to be like, you should come on. And I should have said that, but I'm going to try. I think that'd be really cool. Because, like,
incredible.
he's the guy for me. Like, when I was doing the speed round way back for Guyism on YouTube, I watched Seth Meyers do Weekend Update, and I modeled it after that. Like, he was I watched so much of his stuff.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I like your show. I'm like, what? I can't process that.
Yeah.
My brain just goes, no, he doesn't. He's lying to you.
There
Because
was-
that's insane.
There was this moment afterwards that was so surreal because, like, we, all three of us, you know, kind of got started on No Filter back in the old days now. And, like, the Rob Ryan jokes were, like, I remember the first time you wrote one, and I was like, oh, my God, this is so good. And then you kind of just kept doing it. And then we all kind of piled them on. And then it just, like, made it onto Seth Meyers.
Isn't that
incredible.
insane?
Yeah, and Seth Meyers, like, we had some conversation, you probably don't even remember this, where I was, like, not feeling very inspired someday or very creative, and you were like, just watch some Seth Meyers. Like, watch some of his jokes, like, you'll like, get in the rhythm. Like, he's the best, like, watch some of those.
So good at it.
And it was just, like, all these things colliding into this one moment of, like, oh, my God, what are we doing here?
I know. That's the feeling that I couldn't shake. It's
Yeah.
like, even when we got there and my name's on an iPad outside of a dressing room that's full of refreshments that are for me, I was like, what?
Which
This-
we ate.
Yeah, I didn't
they-
take any.
I just wanted to
no.
make sure I said in the podcast
Yeah.
that they were for me
Yeah.
while
I
looking
didn't-
at you,
I
so
didn't-
you
We
know
ate.
that I know that I saw you put things in your pocket.
Yeah, I didn't take a Cliff Bar.
No, it just was like the overarching theme of the night was like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Like, what? How are we here? It was so it's still
awesome.
so
Amazing.
crazy.
Awesome.
And then wait, this weekend we're going to Daytona. And by we, I mean me
Daytona.
by myself, but
That
yeah,
sucks.
I know.
What? Not that you're going to Daytona, though. You're
Going
by yourself.
alone without you guys. That's what I mean. I wish I could bring you with me. I'm bringing Cammy. I'm bringing Cammy Nolan.
Nolan at the Daytona
Yeah.
500. I love it.
Going to Daytona, going to hang out with Jeff Gordon at his party, at the kickoff party, NASCAR season
Cool,
kickoff.
that's what you do now.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever. No big deal.
It's for TV. We're not real friends. Maybe we'll be real friends by the end. That would be really nice. And then I'm going to go to the race, my first NASCAR race.
Wow.
And I don't think I have to work. I think I just get to kick it, which I'm really excited about.
Heard it really fun to
Hear
go
about that
to.
next week.
Yeah, so Cammy and I will be at Daytona getting drunk at the race. So if anybody's around and you want to meet my insane little mother,
Can be
tweet
the
at
best.
me. Hashtag insane little mother. So, okay, yeah, that's it. That's I think that wraps up the crazy life. I think I don't have anything too insane after Daytona. I think I get to just chill. Thank you guys for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone on Twitter should just tweet at these people, you know, at Easton and at MMFord21.
10.
10.
For-
so
for
close.
now.
Oh, you were 21 before.
For now, though, if someone's got a better one.
Yeah. just make sure they know. If you like the show, just tell them, because it just feels so thankless, and I just want to make sure everybody understands how much fucking work they do. Chris _ Kirk.
Chris 25 Kirk.
What? Why would you do that?
Kirk was
That's like
taken.
when AOL suggests, oh, do you want Katie 128 Nolan? No, why would I put 128 in the middle of my name?
It was taken.
Chris Kirk was probably taken, but you could have done like Chris _ Kirk or like Chris Kirk 25, not Chris 25 Kirk. I guess Google Chris Kirk and
Wow.
tweet it whichever one you find, because,
It's one with all the Emmys.
oh my God.
What a jerk.
Well, this was really fun. I enjoyed doing
super
this.
fun.
Let's,
Nice switching things
Are
up.
we
this,
missing anything?
I don't think we need to do any other things.
Guys.
What? So
Guys.
that's it for the podcast,
Wait,
right?
guys.
Unless, is there something I'm missing?
Yeah, guys, I think, guys, I think people would like an update on my Bachelor draft, guys.
Oh,
Bachelor
Bachelor draft.
Bachelor draft.
I like
We're gonna
that
do that every
drop.
week. There we
That's a
go.
really
All right.
good drop.
Okay, great.
Bachelor draft. It's like fade that pick. I like
Welcome to Bachelor Draft.
it. Bow, bow.
So real quick,
Not real quick.
not real quick, couple minutes on this. I had JoJo and Lauren H. Sadly, Lauren H. was eliminated
passed
last
away.
week.
R.I.P.
Oh.
Lauren H.
Still alive. I knew
She's
she wasn't
dead,
going to
she's dead, right?
No, she's still
Which
alive.
one
So
is
what
she?
happens?
So
They
she's not
killed
the
him
one
off
who
her?
said, like, I can turn my tongue into a shamrock
No,
or
that's
whatever?
JoJo, who's
Okay.
alive and well. Lauren H. was a kindergarten teacher, super lame. She was like a late round draft pick that you were just like, I know she's not going to win, but like maybe she'll surprise me. You know what I mean?
Right.
A Nelson Aguilar, if you will.
Great.
You were hoping
Exactly.
she
She
turned
was my
into a
Nelson.
Devontae Freeman, but
But it didn't happen.
instead, yeah.
So wasn't surprised that she got sent home, but that's a great one. So
Oh my god.
JoJo's still alive. We're down to the final four. She's one of them.
Wow, Final Four.
Yeah.
Is this
and
hometown week?
Final Four, Bachelor Draft.
Hometown week.
Wait.
Which means that Ben goes and meets all the final four girls' families.
Where's JoJo from?
JoJo's from Dallas, Texas.
Of course she is.
And not looking good in the previous or next week's episode. They show Ben meeting her brothers. And you
Her bro bros?
her bros.
Her name's JoJo.
And all you see is her brothers being like, man, you really brainwashed these girls, huh? Be like, yeah, you really tricked them. And you see like JoJo crying and being like, I wanted this to go so well and now everything's ruined.
Yeah, but don't the previews normally do that to make you think it's going to go poorly and then JoJo walks away with the W? Like, there's no way that they're going to show you that it went really badly.
I really hope you're right on this one.
Yeah, me
Because I'm a
too.
little concerned.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's looking questionable. I think Lauren B is the girl that is going to win. I think JoJo's going to be in the
Pick the
final
wrong
two.
Lauren.
I know.
Pick the wrong Lauren. Bachelor Draft.
Total sports theme this
You
week.
meant
by
to
the way.
take Jordy Nelson and you took Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, right.
You picked the wrong Nelson.
Oh, I effed up. But this week was catered to us because it was all sports themed. They go to Ben's hometown in Warsaw, Indiana, and he's like, of course, he takes Lauren B on a terrible date. Where he's like, our date today is we're gonna go to the youth center where I used to work and hang out with kids there, which whatever. And they play basketball, and he's
Did
like,
they then fly?
no, they didn't fly there.
They went to the other. They had a really cool one though.
Yeah, well, he says, and I was surprised for you kids,
Becca, right?
and he brings in Paul George and George Hill and Frank Vogel from the
ridiculous.
Pacers.
What?
Kids had no idea who they were, but it was still cool that they were there. And then, keeping the sports team going, JoJo's one-on-one date was they had Wrigley Field all to themselves. They go to Chicago from there, and Ben and
went to
JoJo
Wrigley Field.
hang out in Wrigley
Why
Field.
are they in
bases.
Chicago?
I guess it's close enough to where he's from.
Are you fucking kidding me? You know how expensive that is to shut
Wrigley
down
Field?
Wrigley Field?
It was insane.
kidding?
So they like play baseball at Wrigley Field, and then they have a date in center field at a table. Like everyone's fucking dream come true.
So cool.
The crazy thing about this show is that guy then went on 3 other dates. That is the date to end all dates.
It's
I would
incredible.
never, if I ever had a date at Wrigley Field where I got to play baseball and dine in center field, I'd be like, cool, I'm indebted to you for the rest of, we're married now, and you can have her do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Like, that date is just like Thursday for this guy.
Yeah. So everyone, please root for JoJo.
Okay.
Root for JoJo.
Yeah.
That is
I wish
Hashtag
Tim
root
Tebow was
for
here to
JoJo.
touch JoJo.
Please pray for JoJo. This was fun.
This is really
It's great.
good.
We
This is
should
good
do
times.
podcasts where we just talk all the time.
Yep.
I'm so tired. I'm going to play so many Legos today.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
It is going to be great. Guys, that's it for the podcast. Thank you for listening. If you stayed the whole time, because that was a lot of information. I don't know if it was interesting, but again, tweet us your thoughts if you like what you're hearing, because we're obviously going to have to start to find some new stuff to do with the podcast now that can't be a thing anymore. So that was a pretty good impersonation of you doing
Yeah, that was
the
really good.
audio
Great.
drop.
I can't even do better.
But we will be back with an all-new podcast next week. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes and rate it and leave a comment. But as usual, only if it's 5 stars and only if the comment is positive, because we're working so hard and we just need positive reinforcement. Or you can listen on SoundCloud, Stitcher, or Google Play. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to producer Matt,
Thank you, Katie.
to producer Dave,
you.
to producer Kirk. Bye, guys. Love you. Mean it.